started martial art. It's kind of like a family tradition. I got 28 cousins. They all practice martial art. My dad's pretty well-known kung fu master. I grew up in a kung fu school. Did my first competitions around 6 or 7, and doing hand forms, and I got quite a bit of trophies, about 11. Wrestling about a few years, and then starting doing weightlifting. At the same time, I was doing cross-training of Chinese Sanzao and throwing takedowns and fightings and stuff like that in tournaments back home. And joined a gang back home and been messing around. Got a lot of street fights and stabbed many people, and I got stabbed a few times and not died, but I got over 100 stitches on my body. I got into a lot of bare knuckle fight that involved a little bit of underground gambling, fighting, and all that. Get them a few $1,000s, they fight, just to make the rich people happy. I came here at 22, got married, and then I come here and check around. Don't really see like a whole lot of good, traditional, authentic kung fu. So I opened my school 12, 13 years ago, and I got quite selected people train with me. A lot of kung fu is very watered down and Americanized. There's no hardcore fighting kung fu. That's why a lot of other, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, a lot of kickboxing, Muay Thai, a lot of other style wrestlings, they always look down at kung fu. I don't blame them. The kung fu is kind of watered down here because reason why, there are other style they sparring. The kung fu school here, they don't spar. That's what the school makes weak. When you spar, any style can be worked. When you don't spar, doesn't matter what style you train. If you just try to box all night long, even boxing you can't fight. So I have a thought like, well, we've been doing a lot of bare knuckle sparring. I actually should train a lot of the guys that, use that same kind of technique apply on the MMA. Not too many actually kung fu guys bring the art to the MMA fight or successfully prove the art is good. A lot of kung fu guys get into the octagon, get beat up, and actually not even just kung fu, a lot of stand-up style. Grapplers coming to the school like, so I heard that kung fu doesn't work, but get knocked down. It's like, holy shit, this should actually work. Just the other kung fu doesn't work. Yeah, kung fu work just like any other style, But if you don't train as a fighting, then it's not gonna work. You train it to art form, they're gonna turn out to become an art form. A lot of a traditional kung fu teacher, they don't allow the student to do cross training. They don't. As you see me here, shit. You do a lot of mixed training, and we do kicking, punching, elbow, strike, whatever, you can name it.
I kind of walked in here and I knew instantly that this was a club that I wanted to come to. So.
I usually like it super protected when the girls trains here.
A lot of the women I know kind of suppress their anger, and kind of when we're growing up, it's considered wrong to kind of express physically your anger as a woman. And I feel for me, it's like been a very good therapy in kind of getting my anger out, and also not just getting my anger out, but learning to control it. So here, you're in this really controlled environment where you can kind of lose it and go crazy. And then slowly over time, the more you kind of go crazy and lose it, the more you're able to control it. So then when you're outside the club and like you're in an argument with someone and you get very angry, you're able to then control that anger.
She's pretty much the only girl stick with me. At this place, it's hard for girls to stick around.
It was more of a challenge, like I just wanted to stick it out. And I remember Zach, one of the senior students here, he was like, if you can stick it out in this club, you can stick it out anywhere.
What makes a good fighter? The key is you gotta be mentally strong. Not be afraid to get a hit. Now that alone, it takes a lot of training. So once you pass the point where you're not afraid to get a hit, now the second problem comes the second stage. When you get hit, when you get hurt, you gotta continue the action. Just keep the action going. Just don't quit. That's the really second part, the hardest part. You do get hurt, don't quit. Keep the action going. The difference of kickboxing or boxing, most people, as soon as the workout start, they start rocking their hands, so they hit really hard, but they're never conditioning their fist. So if you take the hand wraps off, you hit somebody really hard, you're gonna break the knuckle. So you do this for like weeks, and you just get used to it. Okay, and this is basically around this side. This is for clocking people. It's like a neck, right? Somebody grab you from the back, you want a back elbow. Okay, that's a back elbow. You want to chop somebody's neck, that's a forearm. Okay, that's the outside forearm. Same thing as chopping. So ideally to chop necks, arms, anybody swing at you, you kind of chop them down, you know. So after you do this for a couple of months, then you move up over the penny bag. This penny bag is pretty much all middle. And you're punching to the point, you're starting to get used to it. It's like probably painful for you to look at it, but after I've been doing it for so long, even the guy's been doing it for a few months, it kind of become part of it. It's really natural. It's not gonna hurt. You're not gonna feel anything. So, grab them. This is conditioning finger jabs, okay? How you do an eye jab, finger jabs. You put your fingers in there, make sure they're open, so all the rock can go through between each finger. You dig in there, in the beginning level, you don't do this. You put it in there and you kind of wash your hands. Okay, you keep the finger open. You want to condition your palm like a shovel. And you grab it, that's build up your grip. Okay, build up your grip. So a lot of time people say, okay, street fight. If somebody comes in, you're doing a boxing, kickboxing. Actually, have a strong hand grip. There's a lot of things you can do. Okay, you grab my neck, somebody grab your neck. This is the tricep. If you got a strong hand grip, that's all you gotta do. Let go, you're gonna let go, right? So that's a simple thing, a strong hand grip. And grab the neck, hold the ear, very effective, go for the hair. If somebody got long dreads, first thing you go for is a dread. So this is the hardest thing in the whole school. This is a ball bearing. You don't punch this. You put your hands in, you wash your hands, okay? You're practicing, you're training all the time, you get your awareness to the highest level. Most of the time, the more you train, the less fight you're gonna get into. Because a lot of times in the city, you see a lot of victims get themselves hurt or killed, not because they don't know how to defend themselves, not because they're weak, because they walk themselves into a situation they don't know how to pull out.